God thirsty. God could even interrupt the schedule of the minister to meet your need. Because that day they were supposed to have Bible study as usual, and we were sitting in the back, like the back row. And the lady teaching identifies myself and all of my friends I came up with and called all of us to the front. I think I just started preaching at this time. Like just, maybe I've preached 3 messages, right? Called all of us to the front. And that was the most accurate prophetic words I've ever received, because it spoke to the secret things God was telling me. I'm not talking about when someone just tells you your name and where you're from. I'm talking about when they speak the things that were hidden in your heart, only between you and Jesus, to confirm that indeed this is what God is calling you to do. But what was it meeting? It was the hunger and the thirst. And I'm saying this to just set the tone.
All right. So, can you all hear me? Good evening, ladies. Can you all hear me? I was going to wait 10 minutes.
Yes, Salma.
All right. Good evening. How are you, Karen? How are you, Precious? How are you, Timidayo and Adiola? How are you girls doing? Okay, so welcome to the live session today. I would have normally done this on the WhatsApp, but I felt, okay, let's do something different today. And I mean, by something different, we're going to be, trying our internet. Let me see the investment you guys are willing to, make and put into this our mentorship program. So welcome again, and you have done well. So yeah. Well, as you all know, my name is Eniola Peters, and this is the Kayu Lady Ministry Stroke Radiant Recycle. I just want to know a few of us, our expectations for today's session. I know the session is called Speak Up and Stay Close. The idea behind speaking up and staying close is I wanted us to address what are the ways to communicate in a relationship that can build intimacy. Communicating in relationship that can build intimacy. So, um, can we all hear me? Is it that nobody can hear me or nobody's willing to talk first? Hey God.
I can you.
All right, great. So I want us to introduce ourselves and tell me about your expectation when you heard the topic. What came to your mind and why are you here? Who's going first? Who's going first, though? Okay, so let me just call you. All right, so starting from Temidayo, can you tell me when you heard, yes, Temidayo, oh, fine, you raised your hand. Okay, see, spirit is one. So tell me, when you heard speak up, stay close, what came to your mind and why you here, apart from the fact that I said it's a prerequisite? Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Mama, and good evening to every other lady. And I was particularly always excited to hear about the concept of being friends in relationships. So when I saw this particular flyer, I was like, wow, this is something I would not want to miss. So I would love to know how, like, practical ways to which I can, as much as when we talk about marriage and relationship, it's more like a God thing and it has to work because you know what's at stake. But also knowing that a relationship should be something you enjoy being in. So I'm just very open to hear as much as I can from today's meeting. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you very much, Timdayo. All right. Adiola, please can you go next?
Good evening, ma. Good evening, everyone.
And
Well, I just joined the group today, but um, when you said speak up or something, what's the topic?
speak up.
My ma, I didn't hear you.
I said speak up and stay close.
Okay, speak up and stay close. Like Temidayo said, first of all, like how we can have conversations in relationships and it won't end into like a fight or a war because we are two different people, and then how to communicate what's on my heart without it seeming like, oh, I'm being condescending or something. I mean, I've heard so many times when
Yeah.
we say, oh, you can bring out the king or the fool in every man, and I'm like, wow.
But I'm
So
not sure if
but
it's my own network.
oh, can you hear me now? I think maybe it's my network. Oh, hello. Hello.
I can hear you now, Adela. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, I can hear you, ma.
All right, great. So I think I lost you for a bit. I'm not sure if it's my network or it's your from your end. But
Probably
please, can
mine.
you repeat it again? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like I've heard severally where they say you can bring out the priest or the king in every man, but it depends on how you communicate with the person and all of that. So, yes, I think I'm a bit excited knowing how I can communicate properly with the man or with the person I'm in a relationship with and not sound condescending, or how I can relay my opinions and my views respectfully.
Thank you very much, Adela, for that. Yeah, how to communicate respectfully. I like that. All right. Okay, Precious says, I hope to learn about how to appropriately communicate in a relationship. Okay, she left that in a message. And I think that is about it for all of us for now. So, Christiana, you're welcome. All right, so today we're talking about speaking up and staying close. And so it was one of the day. Let me give you the background, right? I was having a conversation with one of us, and she was like, oh, she's in a new relationship, and the only thing they talk about is she's here too, so whatever. And the only thing they don't really talk much, and it's more of hello, how are you? I'm fine. Have you eaten? Yes. Okay, have a good day, bye. And I'm like, okay, so is that all you guys talk about in the relationship? How do you intend to grow close? How do you intend to become intimate? How do you intend to get to know the person to the extent that the person would always want to have a communication with you, always want to have a conversation with you? And I felt, okay, well, I mean, let me talk to everybody on that. I mean, it can't be overemphasized, the need to actually know how to communicate with your partners. And for the sake of this session, it's not just your relationship partners; it also includes your friends. How do you keep your friendship going? Do you just have a friend that, oh, it's only when you need each other that you talk, or you actually have a relationship that you are nurturing? Yes, that's the word. So yeah, what is communication, right? Let me ask. Communication is a two-way bridge, right? You talk to me, I talk to you. You listen to me, I listen to you. You say hello, I respond by saying hi. That is basically communication in a layman's term. All right. It's just a way to. Oh no, sorry. Can you still hear me? I'll be out of call that gave me. Can you still hear me? Okay, great. So communication is just a way to, exchange information. Yeah, there are different ways to communicate. You can communicate by speaking to each other. You can communicate by writing. You can communicate by sign languages. You can communicate by um, non-verbal touches as well. So there are different ways to communicate. But today we're talking about speaking, saying the things in your own mind. Why is it important to communicate? You might ask me. Communication is very important because it helps you, number one, convey your thoughts to the other person. It helps each other to understand your needs and desires. So you can't keep quiet because you feel, if I tell this person how exactly I feel, the person is going to get upset, the person is going to get mad at me. No, that's the point of communication, helping each other understand our needs and desires. Communication helps us to lay a foundation of trust and safety. If you're open to me, I can, and I'm open to you. There's a very high chance we trust each other. All right, there's a very high chance we trust each other, and then we feel like we are safe with each other. Communication helps us avoid misunderstanding. Communication helps us connect, like empathy. Like, if you don't tell me how you feel, how would I empathize with you? If you don't say exactly what is going on in your head, how do I know what you're going through? So communication helps us to share our emotions. Communication helps us to, resolve conflict and help us to grow, right? And communications helps us to maintain connection, like regular connection, regular interaction with someone makes us to stay connected with each other. And communication helps us to be vulnerable with each other. All right, those are the importance of communication in relationship. Now I'm going to take it one step at the time, right? You just newly started a relationship and you don't really know much about this person, or maybe you're in the talking stage, and I mean talking stage means you're communicating, right? And you don't really know much about this person, and the person is saying, and then you don't talk much, you don't hang out, you don't what's the English, how can I put it, you don't hang out, you don't talk on the phone, you only say hello, hi, what's up, how are you, have you eaten, fine. How do you expect to get to know this person? That is even talking about the talking stage. How do you expect to get to know this person? That's the benefit of communication. You're talking to this person. You pick the call. You're interested in knowing about this person. Some ladies are quite irritable. None of us here do. Some ladies are quite irritable. Once the guy starts saying, "How are you?" You're like, "What? What? I beg." Okay, bye. And I'm like, no, this person wants to get to know. There's no harm in getting to know this person, even if at the end of the day you guys don't even end up, starting a relationship or love relationship or something. But there's totally nothing wrong in, communicating with the person, getting to know the person. So what are the things that can be discussed in a relationship? Who wants to tell me one? What are the things that can be discussed in the, let me even say again, the getting to know each other stage? That is the talking stage that we say now, because it's not really just about going out on dates. It's really not about person is calling you and what are you talking about? All right, what are you always talking about? Hey God. Okay, so um one of the things I'd like to, dive in today is the fundamentals of effective communication. So now, what are the fundamentals of effective communication? Number one is active listening. Are you an active listener? Ask yourself, am I an active listener? Do I listen, or do I listen to understand, or I listen so that the person can move on? Now, this is what I mean by that. Sometimes somebody is talking to you and all you're thinking of is, I beg, just finish this thing. I beg, make I move on. You understand? And that is not active listening. You might be looking at the person like this, and that's not active listening. That is going, you're just a passive listener. You just want the person to finish and get off your case. That is one of the problems of communication. You have to really be interested in what this person has to say. You really have to be interested in what this person has to say. What does this person have to say? Okay, so I call you and I'm talking about how my day was bad and all and all and all, and you're like, okay, so even me, I'm hungry, and I'm like, okay, all the things that I've just said today, does it even matter to you? And you're like, oh no 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 no, I heard you. That is one of the things that kills communication in relationship. One of the things that kills communication relationship, because after that scenario, the girl will most likely not want to talk to the guy again because in her mind, this guy doesn't listen. So active listening is one of the key fundamentals of communications. Are we still together? Then now the next thing is, okay, so an example of what's it called, active listening is, you provide what's it called, nodding. You summarize what the person said, and all that. And then another example is clearly expressing yourself. Now, you that you are talking, you should not just keep going on and on and on and on about what is not. Clearly express yourself. Clearly express your feelings. Nobody is a witch. Nobody can know exactly how you're feeling or what you're not saying. So say it out clearly. Clearly express yourself. That is a key fundamental of effective communication. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is understanding and expressing your needs. Before you can understand and express, before you can express your needs, you need to understand your needs. What do you want? What do you stand for? What exactly is your problem right now? Like, okay, so when you're talking to someone, what is the aim of that relationship? Why are you talking to this person if at the end of the day it's not going to bring you results? So you need to understand yourself, like, oh, this person is a keeper, this person is to go, so I don't need to talk to this person, and this I need to invest. If for any relationship you're in, you need to invest communication. For any relationship you're in, you need to invest communication. See, when you hear a lot of marriages have issues, I know singles, you guys are afraid a lot. Marriage issues. The number one problem that marriages face is communication. The lack of understanding the basic needs of basic fundamentals of communication is what is causing a lot of problems. That is what is causing a lot of problems in marriages, in relationships. You don't understand that, oh, one of fundamentals is active listening. The other one is clearly articulating yourself. You can't assume, there's one story my mentor said that, oh, there was a time she was angry with her husband, and the husband did not even understand that we were angry. I mean, in his mind, he was like, well, maybe you just felt like keeping quiet. So at the point, you have to clearly explain yourself. So somebody was telling me today about how, we misinterpret things. So you're suspecting your boyfriend or your friend, for instance, and then instead of you to walk up to him and say, guy, I saw that you did this, or I think you did this, just to understand if he actually did it, all right? And he explains, oh, I didn't do it. His communication should have just solved the problem. But most times we will not approach the person. We will just assume in our heart that this person has done it, and that's the end. We will just assume that, this guy has cheated. Hey, then you now start plotting and plotting and plotting. Instead of you to actually sit down and have a communication conversation with this person and let the person understand how you feel, what you saw, what you think is the problem, and then let the person explain, oh no, this is it. That is communication. Communication solves a lot of problems in relationships. Communication, right communication actually solves a lot. So somebody asks, is there anything like a wrong communication? Yes. Saying what is not necessary. Saying what is not necessary is a very wrong communication. You don't have any business saying what is not necessary or what is not needed or what somebody doesn't need to hear. You don't have any business saying all that. Are we together? So that is the what's it called? That is one of the keys to communication. My laptop is seizing. Can you hear me? Can you please still hear me? Okay. Okay. So, any questions so far? Any questions so far on communication? The bottom line of today's session really is for all of us to understand that communication is not hello, hi. Communication is saying what you mean, saying what you feel, understanding how you feel and saying it clearly to the other party, checking in on the other party, you know, without bias, checking in on the other party, and then knowing how the other party receives information. Now, I'm going to give an example of receiving information. Sometimes we don't, we feel the only way to communicate is how we know how to communicate, right? The only way we feel we know how to communicate is how to communicate. Meanwhile, the other party doesn't understand what you're communicating. So I'll give an example. I had a friend that when she got married, from her background, she was used to keeping quiet. From her background, she was used to keeping quiet, always keeping quiet. You know, she doesn't used to talk at all. And then all of a sudden, she got married to someone that was very vocal. And the reason she doesn't used to talk is because, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? So the reason she didn't used to talk is because growing up, her voice wasn't heard. In our house, nobody talks. It's only the mother and the father that talks. So growing up and now, getting married, she was used to actually not saying anything. And then the husband was a talker, like always talking, always shouting at all. So she became even more timid in marriage. And then after 2 years, she found her voice and, she took it to the extreme. So she took it to the extreme. And by taking it to the extreme, she felt she needed to say any guy is stupid, she'll say the guy is stupid. If she feels the guy is mad, she'll say you're mad. She did not understand that there are some things we are not supposed to say, there are some ways we are not supposed to say it. And they couldn't blame her because her husband was always shouting. So, coming from a timid home and then now marrying someone that was shouting. So it was moving like from like two extremes now. So they still didn't communicate because after a while, the guy felt I can't waste my time communicating with this wife, all right? And she still couldn't understand until they went for counseling and they had to tell her, oh no, 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 you have to learn how to communicate, right? You have to learn, it's just like speaking someone's love language. You have to learn how to communicate in your own love language to the person and speak the other person's love language as well. So what is your love language? What is your other partner's love language? Do they like talking? So if they like quality time, that means you like talking. That means you like you being around. So you hang around, you talk. It's just like some of my mentees now, and you call me and you ask me, oh, me, that I'm supposed to be the one asking you, how are you and all. You call me, you're like, Mama, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. And when you were coming for your one-on-one session, I tried to tell you a bit of myself as well, so that you don't feel like, oh, this woman is not talking. That is communication. Relating to someone, letting the person know that you're not alone. I've done this too, I've gone through this too, or I understand exactly how you feel. Speaking the person's language, all right? That is communication, speaking the person's language. So whoever you're communicating with, you need to understand who the person is and you have to speak the person's language. So you just yo, I'm so sorry, yo. That's how this internet is just messing me up. Please Please, can you hear me? I beg. Please tell me you
I
can
can
hear me.
hear you, Mama.
Hey, God. This network wants to disgrace the village. Interesting fact. Yeah, I almost canceled the session this night because at the point I was feeling like something was just off. But there is a liar. You who will hear this communication thing today. All right. Oh, God. So, so after a while, what was I even talking about? Oh, what was I talking about? I've lost my thoughts. What was I talking about? You were not listening, about. What was I talking about?
About your friend.
Mama, was it about a friend? You were saying if somebody comes for a one-on-one session with you, you tell them a story or something.
Good children, clap for yourself. Okay, yeah. So I was talking about, communication too is also speaking the person's language. All right. When you meet someone and you need to understand what the person likes, and you have to be able to communicate what you like as well. A lot of times, women, we always keep quiet. That's what I want to use. We always keep quiet. We don't want to express exactly how we feel so that the guy does not run away or the guy doesn't feel, oh, I'm too overwhelming and all whatnot. But it is important, to let your partner know how they can communicate with you. So if you're the timid type, then you should also be able to explain yourself. You should be able to explain yourself to whoever it is that you're listening to, that is listening to you. All right. So one of the key ways to communicate effectively with your partners is what's it called? Okay, so you see each other for the first time in the day. How are you? I'm fine. What next? So tell me about your day. Is that not what we say? Tell me about your day. Oh, my day was fine. Okay. So did any interesting thing happen? Nothing. Nothing really. Everything was just boring. Well, I'm tired. I want to sleep. Is that not what we do? Please correct me if I'm wrong, bro. This is just now. Is that not what we do?
That's what we do.
You should confess.
Mama, that's what they do. They do.
Exactly. So what can we do to what is the flip side of this? Hi babe, how are you? I'm good. Hey, can you imagine? This is what happened to me today. Oh. This person did this, that. Yes, so okay, so if it was you that it happened to, what would you have done? Tell you what you would have done. Something interesting, you know, and it will spark a long relationship. And it will spark a long relationship. All right. So that is how to communicate. That is how to communicate. So you are the one. If you want if you want a gist, if you want a conversation, you start it. You will want to start it. You can't sit down and say, I want him to be. He's not people talking to me. I asked him question. How was your day? What did you eat? What color of clothes did you wear? Who did you talk to? That's not interview. You ask simple questions like, hey, or you don't you just send a meme, or you thank God for Instagram, send a meme and just like, hey, this is what I sent to you. Hey, what do you think about it? Just about it. There was time I was talking to I think Karen and pressure about conversations you have with a suitor or somebody on how to know if the person tithes, for instance. You won't go and meet the person and say, do you tithe? Do you pay your tithes? What do you think the person is going to say? at the end of the day, you already know this one's a red flag because to have conversation with someone you're in a talking stage with. You don't just sit there and say, how many children do you want to have? You can just come up with I find in Jesus' name. You can just come one day and say, hey, I met a lady that has 5 children. Oh, you say, 5 children is not bad. I want 20 children. Those are ways to communicate with the person. Those are ways to find out. Don't just sit down saying, how many children do you want? It's not an interview, it's a communication, it's a conversation. Like, oh, I met a lady that has 5 children. What do you think? Say, 5 children, okay, no. Once past two like this, I don't do. Then you will know, oh, okay, it's like when me and this person were on the same track and all that. So those are ways to communicate with people. You don't just assume they can read your mind, or maybe somebody offended you now and then you now kept quiet and you're now carrying face. Do you understand? Even though, yes, our non-verbal communication, um, non-verbal communications includes facial expressions, body language, and tone, and understand whatever your facial expression is talking about. Do you understand? And then also, you also need to pay attention to be able to understand what your partner's love language, I mean, facial, non-verbal communication is. So, for instance, you're having a conversation with someone, and the person is carrying face, and the person is carrying face, you already know, okay, maybe this person is not in the right frame of mind. All right. I saw a video on Instagram recently, and the person said, all these kids now, ways to make disturb your husband or be your wife in the house. And then the girl was folding clothes, the guy came and scattered it. I just looked, I just commented, I said, don't do this when they are not in a good mood. So pay attention to their mood, because if you do it when they are not in a good mood, you're going to regret it for a long time. That is part of communication. Are we together? So it is important, it is important to know, to pay attention to the non-verbal communication as well. Pay attention to your partner's love language, body language. Like I said, the love language, the body language, the facial expressions, and all that. If they're not, in the mood for it, you call someone, you notice the person is sounding a bit down. You will not say, "What's wrong with you? You're not happy that I called you." No, pay attention. It's easy for you to just say, "Oh, is this a good time?" Oh no. How many of you literally, when you make phone calls, both official or not official, that you say, "Oh, is this a good time to talk?" How many of you do that? You just call someone out of the blues, and you just go straight to the point. Hello, this is Blessing. That book that you want to get, kiniko kiniko, what's it called? It's here. Oh, come and pick it up. I mean, you don't even know if this is the best time to call. So it is important to pay attention to the people you're listening to. All right. It is important to pay attention to the people you're communicating with. And communication is not hard at all. Communication is not hard at all. Communication is just like you're telling your partner something, your partner is telling you something. Both of us are working towards a common goal. All right. We have each other's interests at heart, and I want to listen to you. You want to listen to me. I want to be your friend. You want to be my friend. So we are friends. We are friends. We are friends. All right. So please, what's it called? So please, let's just understand that communication is very important. Communication is very essential to our day-to-day activities. The way you communicate with your parents, the way you communicate with your partner, the way you communicate with your friends, the way you communicate with your lovers or your loved one and your children. They are all, they are all different, and they are all dynamics that we have to understand. But nobody is a witch. Nobody can read your mind. So if you can't clearly articulate how you feel, nobody can understand it. So number one thing that you're going on with, clearly articulate yourself. Always say what you want, what you need. Say it. Wrong with saying how exactly you feel. Of course, you understand how your partner or how your lover or how your friend likes to be communicated to. Some people, they just want you to know how do I put it now? If I want to collect money from my husband, I know how to say it. I'll not go and say, give me money. I hope he's not listening. I'll not go and say, okay, give me money. I know the best way to say it. That's for you people's imagination. But you understand what I mean? It's still under communication. You have to know how to communicate with your partner, how to communicate with your person, how to get them to do what you want them to do. That is communication. And they have to be able to get you to do what they want you to do as well. Because it's just like praying to God. You know, we've heard it a lot of times that a lot of times we are not communicating with God, we're just commanding God. And that's what we do in real life too, in communication. We just tell you, man, pass. That's it, and go. Not even waiting for a response, not waiting to know if this person heard what I am saying, not waiting to know how this person would respond, not waiting to know if the answer is yes or no, we just leave. That is also a very bad part of communication. When you tell it back. So I recently, listened to a message, right? This is communication at its peak. I recently listened to a message, and the person was talking about destiny compatibility. If some of you are on my WhatsApp status, you must have seen my WhatsApp status rather, that I said destiny compatibility is not a thing, right? And a lot of people started sending me message, oh, she meant. And I'm like, that's the problem. Communication, I don't need to read meanings to what you say. It is whatever you say that is clear. So you don't have to let people be thinking for you, right? So you say, before singles get married, you need to check if their destinies are compatible. That is what you said, and that is what you mean, and that is period. Right now, the deep ones, the deep sisters of God, can start saying, oh, maybe she meant purpose, she meant this, she meant that. And I'm like, no, I don't see. A lot of people have listened and are running with that now. They are running with that destiny compatibility. That's it. They're not interested in knowing if she meant or she didn't mean. So when you're communicating, please be clear. Don't let people be thinking, is that what she meant to say? Is that what she meant to say? No. Communication, please be clear. I think I'm going to end here for tonight, and I really want to answer questions concerning this communication, because every time I like to address the issue head on. I like to address what everybody's concern is about communication. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I think I already have two questions. One on YouTube. Let me see. It said, how do I partner better for people in the talking stage? You just ask them. So network is network again. So like we go out on a date, for instance, now, and you give out you want to find out about his family, for instance. You don't just go, so tell me about your family. Are you people nice? No, you don't say things like that. You will ask, things like, oh, so you say things like, oh, so in my own family we are like this, that. How about you?
Do you have a sister? Are you close to your sister? Let me see your sister's picture and all those things. So yes, there are ways you can actually get to hear the deep stuffs, all right? And just ask, all right? What's it called? So Veronica's saying that what if we are saying, what if what we are saying is considered wrong communication? Most times when you communicate exactly how you feel, it is now considered complaining. Yes, it is okay to, for me, I will say this, it is okay to complain, all right? It is very, very okay to complain. It is okay to complain. However, check out the person you're talking with. Check out how they feel, all right? Pay attention to their feelings. Pay attention to their mood. Don't just jump into saying, what's it called? I don't feel happy. It's okay to express how you feel, but then, like I said, how you say it is important. How you say it is important. So someone is not happy, and you're like, hey, you're not paying attention to me. Okay, this person, God, this person is not in a good mood though. I think there was a movie that I watched, and the girl was just on and on and on and on and on about how she wasn't happy about this, about that. And the guy was just confused, like, do you even know exactly how I am feeling? Like, at least come on, you're just talking and talking and talking. Try and understand how I feel. Try and understand what I am going through. And by understanding, have empathy, have empathy. Try and understand that maybe this guy is going through stuff, okay? You don't just jump on the person. So those are the ways you communicate. All right. So when you say, most times when you communicate exactly how you feel, it is now considered complaining. It's okay to complain, but communicate. It is important to communicate. It is very important to communicate. Communicate exactly how you feel. It is fine. All right. It is very, very okay to communicate how you feel. But then pay attention to the things happening around. Okay, so someone comes in, maybe you're married and your husband comes in late. Instead of first saying, where have you been? You didn't call me all day. This, da, da, da. You can just say, okay, welcome. How are you? What happened? Are you okay? This is okay. And then when you're trying to now hear, oh, maybe something happened, and then nothing is coming forth, like nothing bad happened, the person did not die. Then you cannot come and say, but wait, you could have easily called me that, oh, I'm coming home late. Communicate how you feel. Complain. And then let it be like, oh, I'm sorry, or I know I should have communicated to you. I'm really sorry. Please pardon me and all that. So that's ways to communicate, all right? And complain. But pay attention. One thing I learned from my mom is no matter whatever my dad did, anything he did, once he comes back home, my mom would first carry his bag, give him food, tell him to go and shower, give him food and see, then start. She'll start. She would have forgotten that you did something. Start. But that she'll even give you water. They always said no, you don't you don't freeze on mute. They always said it that you don't know what are going, so you don't just welcome them home and start shouting, or you need to pay attention to how the person is feeling. It's communication. You need to pay attention, ask the right questions. Are you okay? How's your day? And all. So why didn't you call me that you're going to come late? Let's talk about that. Do you understand? We're all learning we're all work in progress, and we're all learning. So yes, it's okay to complain, but check why and how the surroundings of your complaint before you do that. Okay, said which of communication is not necessary? I don't understand which communication. Every communication is necessary. You have to communicate. Everything is necessary. Which of the communication is not necessary? I need to know which communication you're talking about. So other question is, what do you do when your partner doesn't reciprocate communication you're trying to build, then understand his communication language, understand his body language, understand how he loves to be communicated to. It's not everybody that likes to talk. Okay, so one fun fact is I like to talk anywhere, anytime, anywhere. Anywhere the talk catch me, I will talk. My partner doesn't like talking anywhere. In fact, the only place he can talk without thinking is when he's driving. So imagine we are home, I'm talking, he's not listening. But then we're driving, no matter whoever is in the car, he'll talk. He'll just be talking. And I'm like, why are we always talking? Because I said, oh, pardon me, but this is like the best place you can catch me to say anything I want to say. Oh yeah, now let's go for a drive, since that's where you want to talk. Do you understand? So if the partner is not reciprocating your communication language, find his own communication language and, work with him, work with her, work with him on that, work with him. How does he like to talk? Is it the type that likes to talk long conversation? Is it the one that just says, hello, how are you? Okay, bye. Find out his communication language. Everybody has a communication language. We all have a communication language. We all like when we want to be talked to, where we like to be talked, where we feel most vulnerable to talk, and how we do it. So please, it is important that communication language, we have to find it. All right. Is there any other question? I don't know what is wrong with my network on the system, so I can't really check the YouTube as well. But I guess I want us to call it a night here. I think we've all gotten value. Throughout next week on our what's it called? On our WhatsApp page, we're going to be talking about communication languages and how to deal with each other while we communicate with each other. So thank you very much for joining, everyone. Thank you. Eniola, Christina, Precious, Sandra, thank you all for joining. I hope you have gained something. Network really tried this night, but God no go shame us. All right, thank you so much, ladies. Let's share, what we have learned on the general group, and then we're going to talk more on it, because yes, we really need to, learn this communication thing. We need to learn how to communicate, our communication language and everything. So thank you, ladies, and have a beautiful Friday night. All right. Love you all.